First, just on the relief package vote, there was a lot of things in there that under almost virtually any other circumstance I wouldn't support. Wouldn't support any of those measures. I think we are at a time right now of such a unique circumstance that the psychological impact of not having voted for this today and taking it down would have been traumatic, and I think that's why the president supported it. There are things in that bill that need to be fixed and that are wrong, and that's why we are racing to get this additional bill, this third piece of legislation, out the door. And one of the prominent features of that is assistance to small business. And that's the piece that we're working on, and we're trying to finalize tonight, working with Secretary Mnuchin, as you said, Senator Collins, Senator Crapo, Senator Alexander, and others, and with our Democratic counterparts too. And the basic gist of it is use private individual banks at the community level, along with the bigger banks, to get cash rapidly into the hands of small business. And if they use that money to meet payroll for the next 6 weeks or so, and their other expenses of just staying afloat, but more importantly, the payroll, they will not have to pay that back. There'll be forgiveness. If they use it for other purposes or beyond that, then obviously that would turn into a loan. But we have to keep people employed. We cannot allow millions of Americans to be laid off and disconnected from the workforce and be home quarantined and not knowing if there's a job for them in a few weeks when this all goes back, we hope, to business.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously concerns about the whole thing in terms of how some people say, it's sort of throwing money at the problem, and if you send people checks for $1,000 or $2,000, does it really get back into the economy? I'm sure you have concerns about that, and I understand, the urgency that you express as well. I listened to Senator Manchin today say, these should all be loans. The money should be returned in time from these companies just to sort of get them through this period. What do you say to that?
Well, there's a couple things. I think generally all of that is true. So let's say that this is a normal economic downturn caused by decisions made by the market or bad decisions made by companies. That's one thing, and that's what we have faced in the past. We need to understand what we're dealing with here. What we are dealing with here is a public health crisis, and the way the government has had to respond to this crisis is by telling the private sector not to open, not to work, not to serve customers, not to make money. And so I don't know how they would pay that back. We have basically stopped the private industry in this country. We have intervened to stop it in order to save lives. So this is a very different circumstance from what you saw with the economic downturn in the late 2000s or what you've seen in the past with downturns. This is government mandates. Government is basically by fiat telling the private sector it cannot function. Businesses will close, but in the interim, they're going to lay off millions of Americans who are going to be stuck at home in quarantine or not going out. And on top of that, not even knowing if they have a job to go back to one day. And the impact on this country that would have is devastating, and the impact on small business. If you're a small business and all of your employees are laid off, and then we tell you, okay, you can restart now in a few weeks, in many cases, the employees won't be there anymore. Now you got to go out and hire new people, retrain them. By the time you get started, it's all over for you.